To go off my last video of anxiety attacks, I know I went over one tip, which was finger tapping, on how to stop an anxiety attack or at least calm it down when it is happening. I just want to go over a set of tricks that help me when I'm going through my anxiety attacks or in situations where I feel like I'm trapped and can't get out. For instance, when I'm out with my friends, when I'm on a trip and vacation. These are just what work for me, and I hope that you guys try them out and they work for you. Say about calming your anxiety and having less of those, because if you're on anxiety medication and you notice that your body is starting to increase with anxiety attacks or panic attacks, and there's a couple things that come into play. You can either be taking your medicine every day and out of nowhere you're just automatically getting these increased anxiety attacks, or you're not taking your medication consistently and you're taking it here and there and you're wondering why you're getting more anxiety attacks. And the reason for that is because it's vital that you do not miss one day of when it comes to medications such as anxiety and depression. Because if you miss a day, your body's like hormone levels can like just plummet. So you'll definitely see a drastic difference if you don't consistently take medication if you're on that. If you're not on medication but you are just frequently having anxiety attacks, there's a few things that could be going on with that. One, usually when people get anxiety attacks, if it's not from bright lights, surrounding environments like big crowds or malls or amusement parks, those are just some of the things that could stress you out. But if it's not from any of those things, then another main thing that it can be is from a non-consistent morning routine, night routine, and something that stabilizes your day and makes you feel at home whenever everything else is out of place. You can watch my other video about morning routines, but once you have a morning routine set up in your day-to-day life, you have that stabilization, that anchor to hold you down and basically keep you there so that all the other BS that comes along with going throughout a day doesn't affect you as much, if that makes sense. Diet has everything to do with anxiety attacks, especially if you are eating a lot of chocolate or sugar right before you go to bed. That next day you are prime time to get anxiety attacks. The less you drink, you know, that's obviously gonna increase your chances of not having one. So diet is really important, especially when it comes to drinking. Healthy foods, preferably no sugars before you go to bed. What else? Oh yeah, coffee is a big one. Anything caffeinated. When you're already prone to anxiety, caffeine is like the devil, because your body internally, whether you like it or not, if you go through anxiety, your body knows how to get that fight or flight mode really quick, and you think you need caffeine to do that, but you really don't, especially if you get anxiety attacks. So just having coffee, having caffeine throughout the day, I mean, try to limit it to at least like one coffee a day or something, but cut back on the caffeine. I haven't thought about this one yet. Oh, one more thing I forgot to say about the medications is that if you are taking them and you've been taking them pretty consistently for, I would say, over 6 months to a year, and then you've been taking them consistently and you start to see your mood change at any point longer than a week or 2 weeks, that means that your body isn't adapting to the medicine anymore, and you need to change either the dosage or the type of medicine. But you might always have to be changing constantly throughout, like, as the years go on. So you're not always just going to be on one medication, and that's a big misconception I think that a lot of people think, is that or they don't think about during the time that they will be switching medicines probably the rest of their life if they're on it the rest of their life. So make sure that you're aware of your body, and be smart enough to admit that your body isn't feeling as good as it normally does, and realize that you need to do something about it. And talking to the doctor is probably the very first thing you should do. Very first thing you should do when it comes to that stuff. So yeah, as much as I hate doing it, you gotta work out consistently, and that's the hardest thing, I know. Yeah, no, working out sucks, but once you do it, you feel good. I mean, initially you're probably start over. If you have anxiety attacks or have depression, you are more likely to suffer from not getting enough endorphins pumped into your brain. And when you work out, endorphins pump into your brain, and that's like a feel-good chemical. And that's why whenever you're going to the gym, you hate going, and then once you get done with the gym, you're like, oh, I feel pretty good. That's because your body's releasing those endorphins. And I can see why, if you have depression or anxiety, that it would be even harder than just the normal person who doesn't have those things to get up and actually just go to the gym. And doing that consistently is what sucks, because when you have depression, when you have anxiety, you lose motivation like that, and it's really hard to get it back up. So try to force yourself over the next maybe week or couple weeks to just go to the gym at least once every other day, and then work into a routine to go every day, or at least 6 days a week. And it doesn't have to be anything intense. It can just be walking on the treadmill for 30 minutes. It could be running, it could be lifting. It doesn't have to be anything intense. It could just be exercise. Just get out there and do something. Pump those endorphins into your brain, guys. That's important. I hate doing it. I can relate to anyone who is like, nah, I'd rather eat pizza. That's me. But you got to go to the gym, because it does help, and it will definitely decrease your overall anxiety attacks. So the one story that I actually vividly remember when I had a really big anxiety attack was, it was last November, and I was at my favorite band concert ever, Guns N' Roses. Shout out, Guns N' Roses. And it was about the I don't know, 6th, 7th song in, and my body was just starting to get all hot, and my heart was starting to race, and I knew the anxiety attack was coming on. And I told my dad, screaming to him, because we couldn't hear it, because there were probably a good 20,000 people in the crowd. And yeah, I just screamed over to him. I was like, hey, I gotta go, I'm not feeling too good. And he understood. And it was all good, and I had to take, I took a 10-minute break or whatever, heard the songs from way down in the halls, and it was cool. When I felt good, I got some water, I went back, I did another round of 5-6 songs, and I went back, took a 10-minute break, and then went back and finished the show. And then we actually ended up getting out early and leaving 2 songs early, so we figured out how to manage it. But I could tell that was the first time that I've managed an anxiety attack successfully from start to finish. And what I mean by that is, in the beginning, when you're getting anxiety attacks, you don't always know when they're coming on until you're in the very middle of it, and you're freaking the F out. That's just not good. And when you can realize, and the more experience you get from it, the more you realize when it's about to happen and what sets you off, that you start doing things in advance to prepare yourself for whatever's about to come. And that's kind of what I did with the concert. So that was my first successful, I did it, and I know I could do it, and I proved to myself that I know what to do, and I've made it through this once now, so I can do it again if I wanted. So you just got to experiment. It's all up to you. First thing is, you just got to do trial and error. Whatever works for you, whatever you figure out your triggers are, work with that and figure out how to avoid the situations that usually set your triggers off. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you guys liked this video and you thought it was of any value, please leave it a thumbs up and subscribe down below for our latest videos.